WAV. I've been a loving wife for 10 years, but my husband doesn't want me anymore. WAV. In order to make me agree to divorce, he proposed to give me all his billions of assets. If I want to have children, he can give me the billion car and Dr. Second Santana away with nothing. WAV. I looked at my carefully maintained garden villa and my 9-year-old son, who is obsessed with advanced mathematics, and I was so excited that I trembled all over. WAD. In the past 10 years, I have regarded marriage as my lifelong career and managed it with my heart, but I only got a pair of resentful couples. WAV. Now this great thing has finally come to me. WAV. No one is willing to fulfill her husband and the third wife, unless her husband's brain is filled with cement and is willing to leave the house with a huge fortune for love. WAD. I never dreamed that Xiao Ziyijian's pretense would make me agree immediately, bless him with tears, and even want to weld him and the third wife together. WAD. This is the 8th time that Xiao Ziyijian has asked me for a divorce for his white moonlight. WAD. I have already practiced skillful coping methods. I listen to him when he says so, but I don't give any expression, let alone any response. WAV. The calm, cold violence made him gradually lose control. WAV. Finally, this time, he tore off his elegant clothes and became hysterical. Su Tao, do you think that if you delay like this, I will change my mind? The love between Su Jin and me is not as fragile and narrow as you think. WAV. It can stand the test of time. WAV. Even if you delay for another 3 to 5 years, he and I will not separate. WAV. Do you understand? Of course I don't understand. WAV. If their love is really so strong, why did they separate 10 years ago? Because of Xiao Ziyijian's failure in entrepreneurship. At that time, Xiao Ziyijian, who failed in entrepreneurship and suffered a cliff-like breakup, was in great pain. WAE. I pulled him out of the mud. WAD. At the wedding, he kissed my hand with tears in his eyes and said that I was the light of his life. WAV. Who would have thought that 10 years later we would be like this? WAV. The more hysterical he is, the calmer I am. WAD. Real disappointment is never a quarrel. WAV. While he was quiet, I recorded a reading check in video for my son. WAV. The son glanced at his father, who was looking at him with a frown at the door, and said, "If you can be quiet for another 5 minutes, I will also record the English check in video, okay?" Xiao Ziyijian was completely enraged. "An old lunatic and a young lunatic. I've had enough of you. Isn't it because of money that you don't want to divorce? Here you go. As long as you are willing to divorce, all the property will be given." WAV. Compared with the contemptuous look he had just given to a cockroach, this time there was more admiration in his eyes. WAV. Xiao Ziyijian pointed at his son with a trembling hand. "After the divorce, if you are willing to take him with you, the villa and the car will also be given to you. I, Xiao Ziyijian, will drive that second Santana and leave the house with nothing." Listening to his ruthless shouting, I tried my best to hold back the trembling of my body, and my expression management was about to go out of control. WAV. In the past 10 years, I have regarded marriage as my lifelong career and managed it with my heart, but I only got a pair of resentful couples. There is a cycle of fate, and today this great thing has finally come to me. I immediately went to the Civil Affairs Bureau with Xiao Ziyijian to register for divorce, without stopping, walking briskly, fearing that he would suddenly regret it again. WAV. He has been going back on his words for years, and my trust in him has long been broken. WAD. The good news is that he was firm throughout the process and divided the property according to his promise. It can be seen that he wanted to divorce at the peak. WAV. After all, Su Jin's belly was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he couldn't wait any longer. WAD. The bad news is that we still have to face a 1-month cool-off period for divorce. WAV. Once he regrets it, everything will go back to square one and fail. WAV. So when I got the divorce agreement, I cried with joy, but I was also worried, and my emotions were so complicated that I couldn't describe it. WAD. Xiao Zai IJ saw my expression and mistakenly thought that I was so sad that I was about to faint from crying. WAV. He looked disgusted and said, "Don't do anything weird to regret it again in this month." I really wanted to swear on his life. God is above. The earth is below. Between Xiao's IIJ and me, whoever regrets the divorce will be the grandson. Everything was done. WAZ, Xiao Zai IJ and kept his word and packed his clothes hastily and threw them into the second Aunt Santana. WAZ, the car was specially prepared for the gardener Laozu so that he could go out to buy things for the garden. WAZ, looking at Xiao's IJ's lonely and thin figure, I couldn't bear it and threw his Porsche key to him. Before the official divorce, you should drive this one. WAV, I'm afraid Laozu is not used to driving a Porsche. WAV, Xiao Zij and rolled his eyes at me. It's already this time, and you are pretending to be considerate. WAV, are you dreaming that you can save something? Of course I don't want to save anything. WAV, I'm just afraid that he will be kicked out if he drives the Santana to Su Jin's house. WAV, he doesn't understand Su Jin, but I don't understand her, right? After all, there is still a month left. WAV, the two of them must be good and don't let anything go wrong at this time. WAV. After Xiaozi IJ and moved out, I immediately took my son to the most upscale Western restaurant in the city. WAV. I raised my glass and my son raised his shoes to celebrate the new life together. WAV. My son has been emotionally stable since he was a child. WAV. He doesn't look like a child. WAV. He looks like my father. WAV. Today he is lively with me for the first time. WAV. The alcohol took effect. WAV. When I thought about the past 10 years of love that had gone to waste, tears of grievance welled up in my eyes. WAV. When I thought about the billions of assets, luxury cars and villas, and the academically gifted son that Xiao's IJ had left me, the tears dried up. WAV. My son went to the bathroom, but when he came back, he became mysterious. Guess who I saw over there? The little brother looked serious. WAV. Who? Your husband's beloved wife, Su Yujin, and there's a handsome guy sitting opposite him. Handsome guy, Xiao Zijian's face appeared in my mind, and I pouted. No way, they even chose the same restaurant to celebrate the divorce? He and Guy are a couple who are unhappy with each other, but we are still so in sync even after the divorce. The little brother said, yes, it's a handsome guy, but he's not your husband. WAV. My heart skipped a beat, and I looked in the direction my son pointed. That woman had skin as white as snow, and her big, light brown waves swayed with her movements. WAV. Her eyes were like a cute little deer. WAV. Who else could it be if not Su Yujin, opposite hers at a strange man? WAV. Although he had his back to me, he was tall with broad shoulders and a thin waist. WAV. He was obviously not Xiao's IJ and skinny guy. WAV. Although Su Yujin was not very pregnant, according to reliable sources, she was more than 3 months pregnant. WAV. This was also the reason why I could calmly confront Xiaozi IJ in WAV. But she was pregnant, so why was she dating another man? Was she afraid that Xiao's IJ would not get a divorce, so she prepared a plan B in advance to register the child? Just then, Su Jin's phone rang. WAV. When he looked at the screen, his expression was unnatural for a moment, and he picked up the phone and went to the bathroom. WAV. While he was away, I walked past their table and secretly looked at the man. WAV. I was shocked to see that he had found a handsome guy. He had thick eyebrows and starry eyes, and his bones were clear and sharp. WAV. I felt pity for him. WAV. At this juncture, if he got the handsome guy and threw Zhao's IJ and the hot potato back into my hands, what would happen? I had opened the champagne. I was so anxious that I couldn't help but walk around again. WAV. My unskilled investigation method attracted the attention of the handsome guy. WAV. The handsome guy looked at me and said, if you want we chat, just say it and I'll scan you. WAV. After returning home, I held my phone and fell into deep thought. WAV. I haven't chatted with handsome guys for more than 10 years, and I'm not familiar with the business. WAV. How can I naturally ask him questions without revealing my identity? This is a problem. WAD. Looking at his figure, he should exercise regularly. WAD. I said to myself. WAD. In order to find a topic, I opened the video software and searched for ways to exercise men's chest and abdominal muscles. WAD. I was so addicted to it that I returned to the three-dimensional world when my best friend called me. WAD. Tao's shocking news. Su Jin and Xiao's Jane had a fierce dispute. WAD. I don't know what happened. WAD. She miscarried and has been sent to the hospital. I suddenly felt like the sky had fallen. WAD. The child is the most solid bond between them. They're not willing to break up. I scratched my head and my butt in anxiety, and I was more anxious than Xiao's in. WAD. No, I have to do something. WAZ. Before I officially get the property, I will be the protector of their love. I called Xiaozhi IJ in, and the call took a long time to get through. WAD. Xiaozi IJ's voice was low and tired. What's the matter? I said. Do you know how to take care of a baby after confinement? There was silence on the other side for a moment, and Xiao's IJ hung up the phone angrily. Su Tao, are you here to provoke me? I was confused. What do you mean by provocation? I'm just asking him if he can do it. WAV. If he can't, I can help him. WAD. To show my sincerity, I went to the hospital with chicken soup, which I stewed myself using the best free-range chicken, astragalus, wolfberry, and red dates. WAB. I hope Siyu Jin will recover and the two of them will have another baby soon. WAZ. Standing outside the ward, I heard fierce arguments and shrill cries coming from inside. Why should I give all my property to him? Am I only worthy of suffering with you? Just give him all my property. It's still mine. I'm here. The company is here. I'll continue to make the money I made before. But your company is here. I'll continue to make the money I made before. But the company has already started to lose money. It's getting deeper and deeper. You didn't believe I could make a comeback 10 years ago, and you still don't believe it now. It sounded like Su Yujin's vitality able to give birth. WAB. I breathed a sigh of relief and sent a message to Xiao Zijin. I'm sending chicken soup. Come out and get it. WAZ. Xiao Zijin glanced at the message and pressed it down calmly. WAK. After waiting for a few minutes, he didn't come out, so I sent another message. I can send a WAD. Xiao Zijin came out quickly. What exactly do you want to do? He lowered his voice, his eyes full of anger. WAD. He is always like this, taking other people's kindness for granted. WAV. I handed him the chicken soup. He is already physically exhausted, and with the influence of hormones, he must be in a bad mood. WAV. You shouldn't argue with him. WAB. At this time, what he needs more than reasoning is your care. WAV. Xiao's IJ has been a husband for 10 years, but he still doesn't understand this truth. WAD. Not long after I gave birth to my son 9 years ago, my father died of an acute illness. WAD. When I was most vulnerable and needed care the most, Xiao Zijie never accompanied me well. WAD. He had endless overtime work, endless social engagements, and endless reasoning. WAD. In the face of my emotional needs, he only said coldly, Zhu Tao, be sensible and don't be so selfish. WAD. I raised my son alone and pulled myself out of that trough little by little. WAD. From beginning to end, he never lent a hand. WAD. Xiaozi IJ looked at me. His emotions fluctuated a little. I'm sorry, Zhu Tao. At that time, WAD. I interrupted him. Go in quickly. The chicken soup is not good when it's cold, and a belated apology is cheaper than grass. WAV. Xiaozi IJ wanted to say something, but I said first, by the way, he doesn't think highly of your company. Why don't you just close it and find a class? WAV, with your brain and ability, it's not difficult to get a 7-digit, a 2-annual salary, and you two can live well. WAD. Xiaozi IJ really had a stress reaction. WAV. Although he made a lot of money in the past 10 years, he was still a little upset because he didn't start from scratch, but relied on my father to invest in him, and even his entrepreneurial track was the real estate industry chosen for him by my wife, who majored in finance. WAD. Although he is successful in his career now, he has an obsession in his heart that is to prove himself, especially in front of Su Yujin. WAD. Xiao Ziyijian's face turned cold. This is not something you should worry about, I said. How can I not worry about it? The company is yours, and the company building is mine. Xiao Ziyij gritted his teeth and said, no matter how the company operates, the rent will not be reduced by a penny. He angrily mentioned the chicken soup and went back to the ward. WAV. I breathed a sigh of relief. WAV. I was relieved when he said that. WAV. I was so afraid that he would stop and find a job with an annual salary of 1 million and live a stable life with Suyu. I was afraid that the evildoers would not get retribution, but would live a peaceful life for the rest of their lives. Don't want to see him arrogant, see him unwilling, see him go from divorce to bankruptcy, step by step, tearing his good life apart with his own hands, and finally be deserted and lonely. WAV. Xiao Ziyij knows me these 10 years, and I want you to pay it back with the rest of your life. WAV. I was weak and bullied in the past, but it was just because I was sincere to you when I withdraw from the relationship. You understand that I play with you as easily as playing with a dog. WAV. In order to provide good after-sales service, I listened outside the door for a little longer. WAV. In the ward, Siu asked anxiously, where have you been? Xiao Zijian, I found a very good private chef and made chicken soup for you. WAV. Try it. WAV. After a moment, it tastes good, but it's a little bland. WAV. Su Yujin's tone was obviously much calmer. WAV. Then I'll tell him next time to put more salt. WAV. Okay. WAV. I sent a message to Xiao Zijian. I put less salt on purpose. WAV. He can't eat the salty now. WAV. Xiao Zijian, get lost. Get lost if you want. WAV. Just take it. WAV. I took the elevator downstairs and reached the 9th floor. WAV. With aiding sound, the elevator stopped and a tall male doctor in a white coat came in. WAV. He had thick eyebrows and starry eyes, a clear bone structure, and looked pitiful. WAV. Isn't this Plan B? Plan B glanced at me and walked into the elevator calmly without recognizing. WAV. Isn't this the perfect opportunity to strike up a conversation? I stepped forward and started chatting with him openly. Hello, doctor. WAV. I have some questions about Postpierre that I would like to ask you. WAV. Is that okay? Plan B looked at me with a little surprise. Did your pigs give birth? I was also surprised. WAV. No. Plan B slowly lifted up his badge and stuck it in front of me. What kind of animal is that? I am a veterinarian. Only then did I see the eye-catching words on the badge, Animal Internal Medicine, Limo. WAV. A cheerful moment in exchange for a lifetime of introversion. Is there any Shandong candidate who can save me? How should I respond with high emotional intelligence at this time? Well, no one can save me. WAV. Fortunately, the elevator stopped at this time. WAV. I hurriedly said, thank you, doctor. Let's talk in detail next time, and ran out. WAV. Limo held the elevator door and waited leisurely. WAV. 10 seconds later, I came back embarrassed lie because that floor said 3rd floor, male sexual dysfunction specialty. The elevator closed again, and we stood side by side, continuing the elevator sure scene. WAV. Limo, do you want to continue the discussion? I smiled awkwardly. Forget it. Let's not talk anymore. WAV. Silence is Cambridge tonight. WAV. It's okay. It's very fast from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor. WAV. The elevator stopped and I flew out. WAV. I heard the joyful cheers of several nurses passing by the elevator. It's Dr. Lee. He's laughing. Oh my God. This is the first time I see him laughing so happily. I didn't dare to look back and walked forward bravely. WAV. When I got to the end, I found it was a dead end. WAV. Ding, my phone received a new message. WAV. I clicked on the message and a friend who had marked Plan B sent me a message. You went the wrong way. You should turn right. WAV. Forget it, in fact. This life is also very fast. WAV. I went home angrily, calmed down, glanced at the message, and thought about how to reply to him. WAV. Sure a field is sure a field, after all. It can be regarded as a conversation. The opportunity is hard won and cannot be easily given up. WAZ. I gritted my teeth and sent, "Huh, I just saw the message. Dr. Lee Mo, was it you I met in the hospital today? What a coincidence. I didn't recognize you." WAV. I have never felt time go so slowly. WAV. 10 minutes later, I received his reply, which only had one word. Yeah. I quickly replied, "Are you busy? Are you all busy during working hours?" After sending the sentence, I couldn't help but give myself a thumbs up. WAV. I am so good at chatting that I can pick up the topic again after such a dull reply. Limo was not very busy, but was just asked by a colleague to gossip. WAV. What gossip do you have? Tell me. WAV. Didn't this start a conversation? I am so good at it. Limo. They said that someone in the obstetrics ward went to deliver chicken soup to her husband's mistress today. WAV. I choked up. WAV. After a while, I said, "Are you usually so gossipy in the hospital?" Limo. Not usually, unless it's something special. WAV. My silence was deafening. WAV. I said, "It's getting late, Dr. Lee." WAV. I'm going to take a shower. WAV. We'll talk next time. WAV. I put down my phone and collapsed on the bed. WAV. I felt so ashamed and suffocated. WAV. How could a person be so embarrassed? Was it worth it? I looked at the villa where I lived. WAV. Well, it was worth it. WAV. If gossipers knew how much my child's father had given, they would only think that I was lucky. WAV. At this time, my phone received another message. Xiaozi IJN, sister you wants to drink that chicken soup tomorrow. WAV. Can I trouble you again? I replied immediately, okay, do you want to put chopped green onions in it? It started to rain when we came out of the hospital. WAV. The car was parked a little far away. WAV. I was looking at the rain and feeling worried when Xin Chen called me. WAV. He howled like a ghost. Zutao, I'm working overtime again. Please go see my son for me. WAV. He is alone in the hospital and I don't know if he is doing well. WAV. He is most afraid of rain and thunder. The pet hospital where Qin Chen kept his dog was right next to me. WAV. I aimed at the door of the pet hospital and plunged into the rain. WAV. The door opened from the inside, and I was carried into the room by a hand like a drowned chicken. WAV. The man handed me a towel. WAV. I wiped the rain off my head and said gratefully, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." I looked up and found that the person in front of me was white-skinned, beautiful, and had a clear bone structure. WAV. It was Drive. WAV. Limo. WAV. How did you get here? I'm the doctor here. WAV. Aren't you from the People's Hospital next door? Have you ever seen any People's Hospital with an animal department? Limo was speechless, and I was a little speechless too. WAV. Then why do all the nurses in the hospital over there know you? Because the dean is my dad. WAV. Oh, I said, the fish raised by Su Yujin are not just beautiful. WAV. After seeing the dog, I sat in front of the window and drank the coffee made by Limo. WAZ. It was here that I caught Xiaozai IJ in Su Yujin's affair 3 years ago. The two of them were talking and laughing while holding the dog, and Xiaozi IJ looked at the dog with more affection than he looked at me. WAV. Giving up my career and diving into marriage was the worst thing I have ever done, but fortunately I did not give up exercise. WAV. That day, I used my fists to let them know what it means to have evil people to deal with evil people. WAV. Thinking of this, I asked Li Mo, "Dr. Lee, how long have you worked here?" Li Mo said, 3 years. That was surprise. I have been here many times in these 3 years. Why don't I have any impression of you? Limo looked unhappy. How can you see others in your eyes? Then do you have an impression of me? Of course. WAD. Limo pondered for a moment and suddenly laughed. Your fists are very hard, and your posture of beating people is very handsome. WAV. Later, every time he came, everyone would tuck their tails between their legs and behave themselves. WAV. Time is really a good medicine. The wounds that were once difficult to heal have already scabbed and faded after 3 years of baptism and can even be brought out and laughed at. WAD. I smiled and said, there is a delicious restaurant nearby. WAD. Do you want to try it? Let's eat and talk. WAD. Limo said, okay, you treat me and I'll pay the bill. WAD. The restaurant is located in a deep alley. WAD. Limo held an umbrella and we walked to the restaurant. WAD. As soon as the umbrella was folded, a perfect couple appeared in front of me. WAD. They were Xiao, Zij, and Su Jin. WAD. Our eyes met and everyone was silent. WAD. If embarrassment had a shape, it must be the look of the four of us at that moment. WAD. Xiao Zij and looked at me with a deep frown. WAD. I felt a little guilty and explained. Two adults can only squeeze together under one umbrella. WAD. Xiao Zij and snorted coldly. It's a bit tight. WAD. Limo looked at me. What are you explaining? Is there a need to explain? Xiao's IJ and said, why not? He and I haven't officially divorced yet. Limo looked at Sujin beside him and smiled. You also know that you haven't divorced yet. The atmosphere instantly reached the freezing point. WAV, I don't know what kind of Tai Sui I have offended recently, and everything is like sure field. WAV. Xiaozai IJ glanced at me and said, come with me. WAD. I reluctantly moved forward. WAD. Sujin asked from behind. It's so hard for me to invite you to dinner, but you came to dinner with him? What's wrong? Have your tastes changed? Do you like older women? Limo said calmly, aren't you the same age as him? Su Yu Jin said anxiously, how can I be the same age as him? Limo quickly replied, yes, he looks younger. WAD. Su Yu Jin jumped up and down. He has been married for 10 years and has a 9-year-old son. Limo said, oh, you also know that he has a family and a son? I was in awe. WAD. How can a person be so poisonous? I really want to live this harsh life once. WAD. Xiao Zijie stood still and turned to look at me. I was impulsive when distributing the property that day. WAD. Eugene quarreled with me every day. WAD. Zhu Tao, you wish us so much. You don't want to see us become like this now, right? I looked at his mouth opening and closing, and I couldn't understand how a person could say such disgusting words. Why regret it? If it weren't for the problem of the company's capital chain, I wouldn't want to do WAV. Zhu Tao, let's redivide the property, half for each of us. He took a deep breath and continued, originally, I was in a hurry to divorce because Yu Jing was pregnant, and I didn't want the child to be born without a father. WAV, now, I'm not so anxious. WAV, I laughed out loud, Xiao Zijian. Did I hear you right? Are you threatening me? My high tone attracted the attention of Su Yujin and Li Mo. WAV, the two of them stopped talking and looked at us. WAV, sudden silence here calmed me down. WAV, I warned myself that the more I had to be calm at this time, otherwise this 3-year secret battle would fail. WAV, I closed my eyes, clenched my fists, and threw myself at Xiaozi IJ. Then, let's not part. Do you think I want to be separated from you? I wake up crying in my dreams every night, and I'll be sad all night holding the pillow you used. Zij, and I don't like money. I want these just to force you to come back to me when you have nowhere else to go. As long as you are willing to come back, our family of 3 will still be the same as before. Gij and Zijin, how can I live without you? I wiped ears and secretly glanced at Siu Jin and Lim O through my fingers. WAV. The two stood there in amazement, like the petrifieds and sculptures. WAV, Xiao Zai IJ didn't expect me to react like this. WAV. He was stunned for a moment and his eyes became hesitant. WAV. It seems that he is very short of money. WAV. He is actually considering this matter. WAV. Seeing Xiao Zijian's reaction, Su Yujin got anxious first. WAV. He walked over and took Xiao Zijian's arm. You don't really want to get back together with him, do you? Then what's the relationship we've had for all these years? Su Yujin began to put pressure on Xiao Zijian. WAZ. Seeing that Xiao Zijian was unmoved, he trembled in his voice. Like you said, you are here, the company is here, and we will continue to make the same money as before. WAV. I am willing to believe you. As for the problem of the capital chain, haven't you contacted Mr. WAV? Yi of Yi Hua Group? It can definitely be solved. I added fuel to the fire. The purpose of cooperation between companies is to make money, not charity. WAD. At this time, housing prices have fallen sharply, and Zijin's real estate projects have been suspended everywhere. WAD. Who would be so kind to give money to help you fill the hole? Zhao Zijin frowned and thought deeply. WAV. I said, come home with me, and I will sign and agree that you can mortgage your assets to get through the current difficulties. WAD. At this time, Xiao Zijin's phone rang. WAD. It was Yu Chen Hua, the chairman of Yi Hua Group. WAD. Xiao Zijin looked solemn and went to the side to answer the phone. The time waiting for the news was counted second by second, which was a huge torment for Su Yujin and me. WAD. Xiao Zijin came back after answering the phone with a flamboyant smile on his usually ugly face. Yujin, it's done. Yahoo is willing to invest. I told you that you should believe me. I believe in you. You have never let me down. The two of them hugged each other in tears like a pair of lovers who finally lived a happy life after going through hardships, and I was like a superfluous and despicable female supporting role and could only watch others hug each other on WAV. After they walked away, I turned around and breathed a sigh of relief, but felt a little embarrassed when I saw Emo. Do you have anything to ask now? I asked. WAV. No, it's not the first day I've known you. WAV. Limo was emotionally stable. WAV. At this time, the phone rang and I picked it up. WAV. Yuichen, whose voice was helpless. I have already negotiated a cooperation with Xiao Zijin, as you said, and the contract will be signed tomorrow. WAV. This money has gone into a bottomless pit. WAV. Can you fulfill the conditions you promised me? I said, of course. Your new project focuses on the sinking market, which is also in line with my current investment logic. WAV. I will sign this cooperation with you tomorrow night. Yi Chen, who aside, you are all going to get divorced, and you are still willing to secretly help him out. Is it worth it to give such friendship to such a person? I said in a sad tone, since ancient times, deep affection has always been betrayed. WAD, what can I do? Who made me love-brained? After hanging up the phone, I found that Limo was looking at me with burning eyes. WAD, I think I said that sentence too early just now. WAD, today is the first day I officially know you. WAD, he smiled at the corners of his lips, and there seemed to be a halo in his eyes. WAV, I rushed into the restaurant. Don't worry, let's get to know each other slowly. WAV, there is a long way to go. WAV, let's eat first. I'm starving. Xiao Zijin's career has picked up, and he is in high spirits. WAD, when the cooling off period is over, he divorced me straightforwardly. WAV, everything was handled properly, and the stone in my heart fell to the ground. WAV, I didn't act with him anymore, and I left with my bet. WAV, but Xiao Zijin was not used to it. WAV, at the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau, he stopped me. Su Tao, you have been husband and wife for 10 years, and now you are parting ways. Don't you have anything to say to me? I thought about it and said, I really have a few words. WAV, Xiao Zijin's face was relaxed, and he listened quietly like a proud god waiting for his believers to do the last night of worship before departure. There was no reluctance and tears as he wanted. WAV. I looked at him inferently with a cold tone. Although the two of us are divorced, you are still the biological father of my son. WAV. My son's ideal is to be a prosecutor. WAV. I hope you will think carefully in the future. WAV. No matter what situation you are in, don't do extreme things that will affect my son's civil service examination. WAV. After speaking, he turned and left, leaving Xiao Zij in alone in a daze. WAV. On the way, I received another call from Yi Qianhua. WAV. Zhu Tao, after fulfilling the contract amount, I will not continue to inject capital into Zhao Zij's company in the future. WAV. Although this money is not small, it can only solve the current urgent needs of his career. WAV. If the environment is not right, the more he struggles, the deeper he will sink into the quagmire. WAV. Only Xiao Zij and still believes that he can return it. WAV. I said with regret, we have done our best. WAV. What's left is to fulfill the contract and settle the accounts. WAV. Mr. Yi, you don't have to be soft-hearted. WAV. After all, you have helped enough. WAV. Yi Qianhua said, I feel relieved when you say that. WAV. I hope that when I deal with the debt with Xiao Zij and later, it will not affect our cooperation. WAV. I said, of course, I still understand this. WAV. My ex-husband, who relies on his talent and pride, I can only hold you up to this point. WAV. This height is just enough for you to be crushed to pieces when I let go. WAV. 3 months later, Xiao Zij declared bankruptcy. WAV. That day I had breakfast in the coffee shop opposite his company. The road was packed with workers who were defending their rights. WAV. The banners demanding wages were like tongues of fire surrounding the company building. WAV. Li Mo sat opposite me and peeled the egg from me. WAE. He handed the egg to me. Eat it quickly, or it will get cold if you don't eat it. WAV. I looked out the window calmly, watching him build a high building, watching him entertain guests, and watching his building collapse. WAV. Limo, this is the 10 years between me and him. WAV. 10 years of spring, autumn, cold and heat, wealth and glory are just a dream. WAV. I retracted my gaze and quickly finished the breakfast in front of me. Xiao Zij and Undai still had some unsettled accounts. WAV. I came to Xiao Zij's office and brought him a breakfast. WAV. After 3 months, Xiao Zij looked thinner. WAV. His office had been emptied out, leaving only a silver globe. WAV. It was a gift from others when his projects spread all over the country. It was also the last bit of dignity that Yi Hua Group left for him. WAV. Xiao Zij sat in the empty office, his originally fair and handsome face covered with stubble. WAV. A month ago, Xiu saw that the situation was not right and decisively broke up with him and threw herself into the arms of someone else, taking away the last bargaining chip Xiao Zij had left in, kicking him into a cliff of no return. WAV. Xiao Zij had been frustrated everywhere and had long been disheartened. WAV. The moment he saw me, a light ignited in his eyes. Tao Dao, are you here to save me? He rushed over and hugged me and cried. WAV. I poked him away with my fingers, feeling a little embarrassed. Actually, I'm here to collect rent. WAV. He promised me that no matter how the company is doing, I won't pay a penny less in rent. WAV. Xiao Zij pinched my wrist, tears in his eyes. You once said that as long as I'm willing to come back, we can still be the same as before. Doesn't it count? I smiled. You also said that I am the light of your life and you will take good care of me for the rest of my life. WAV. Xiao Zij was stunned, and the light in his eyes was finally extinguished. WAV. He squatted on the ground, his face full of pain and unwillingness. Zhu Tao, why do you say I have come to this point today? I said in a deep voice, do you remember the day we first met more than 10 years ago? At that time, you failed in your business and repeatedly hit a wall. WAV. You came to my dad's company to sell your products, and you couldn't drive you away no matter what. I was anxious for my dad to get off work, and I thought you were so stubborn and ridiculous, so I deliberately said unpleasant words to try to persuade you to quit. WAZ. Xiao's IJ and raised a bitter smile. At that time, you were wearing a light pink skirt, your skin was white and rosy, and you were full of youth like a peach with dew on the treetops. WAV. Yes, I was also so young and lively, but later I was hurt by this marriage. WAD. During all these years when he Ansu Eugene hurt me, how could they ever think of how we looked at the beginning? I took a deep breath and continued. At that time, I ridiculed you for your failed business and your unlucky appearance. WAV. It was obvious that you were not destined to be rich. WAV. Who would dare to do business with you with real money? Do you remember what you said at that time? Xiao Zij and looked at me with a blank expression. WAV. He really had forgotten. WAV. At that time, you stood against the door frame, stubbornly unstraight, and you said, all dharmas are empty, but cause and effect are not empty. WAV. Nothing is destined by fate. WAV. Everything in the world must pay attention to cause and effect. WAV. You said that you failed at this moment because of your lack of experience in the past. WAV. As long as you realize the cause, you can reverse the result. WAV. You tell me that cause and effect is not metaphysics, but a natural law. WAV. I turned to him unsaid word by word. Xiao Zij, you believed in cause and effect so much in the past. Why don't you believe that you will be punished for your evil deeds now? Xiao Zij was stunned for a long time. His thin lips trembled slightly, and his eyes were full of self-mockery. It turns out that it is cause and effect. WAV. When I left, I took the globe on his desk. WAV. My son had liked it for a long time, but he was reluctant to give it to him. WAV. Although I now have billions of wealth and can buy anything, I have lived a hard life with him after all, so I mainly spend when I should and save when I should. WAV. When I walked to the door, I reminded him again, don't forget, your son is going to be a prosecutor. WAV. Don't affect his civil service exam. WAV. This is the only thing you can do for him now. WAV. Xiao Zij and sat there with a dull look in his eyes and did not respond to me. WAV. The building was silent and gloomy. WAV. When I went out, I found that it was a perfect day with a blue sky like a mirror and no wind. WAV. Li Mao was waiting at the door, leaning against the car. WAV. His legs were so long that the little girls passing by looked back frequently. WAV. Seeing me come out, she breathed a sigh of relief, opened the car door with her backhand, and stuffed me in. WAV, she complained. Why did you take so long in there? You made me worry so much. I patted her head. Don't worry, I still have a son, and I will take good care of my life. WAV. Li Mo's eyes flickered. Just for my son? Is there no one else? I thought about it, and there is Shi Chenen's dog. WAV. Without me, he would starve to half a pound of meat in a week. WAV. Li Mo sighed. I'm actually a little envious of the dog. WAV. Hey, he'd be a doctor and I'd be the dog. I glanced at him, feeling a little dirty inside. Isn't it easy for you to be a dog? The next day, Li Mo came to pick me up again. WAV. He was on vacation and said he would take me around. WAV. Our goal was not so clear. WAV. We kept driving along the road. WAV. I didn't know where I wanted to go, but I felt a sense of peace and tranquility in my heart that I had never felt before. WAV. We stopped and went like this for 2 days. WAV. On the third day, Zhang Qian called me early in the morning. WAZ. I pressed the hand-free button, and there was another ghost howling on the other end of the phone. Chao's stay, stop playing. Come back soon. Xiao Zij is dead. Last night he drove Su Yujin into the river, and they were just fished out this time, and both of them were dead. Lim Owen. The goal was not very clear just now, but it is clear now. WAV. I said, let's go back. WAV. Lim O turned the car around. He pondered for a moment and said, Do you want to find a place to buy a bunch of flowers to take with you? I asked, what are you buying flowers for? Limo said, aren't we going to pay tribute to Zhao Zijian? I said, no, the insurance company. WAV, do you know how many accident insurance policies I have bought for him in the past 3 years? Limo, he asked you how you were sure that he would die in an accident. I said, not so sure, but pretty close. WAE. When the day comes when he is at the end of his rope, his determination and Su Yu-jin's character will work together to create such a result. WAV. Xiao Zijian himself no longer remembers his theory of cause and effect, but I believe in it more than he does. WAV. Limo, do you know? From the moment I decided to divorce him, I was ready to say goodbye to him forever. WAV. I repeatedly told him not to affect my son's civil service exam. WAZ. In fact, there was another reason. WAV. I was afraid that he would do something wrong and my huge insurance would be in vain. WAV. Limo was silent. WAV. Why are you silent? Are you scared? I was also in love, but you didn't catch up with the good times. WAV. Now it's like this. I can't go back to the past. WAV. I put my face in front of him. Actually, it's not too late to regret now. WAV. Limo smiled. He leaned down and whispered in my ear, it's too late. I'm already trapped. WAV. For several months thereafter, life returned to peace. WAV. I invested part of my assets in the pet medical chain project that Limo participated, and occasionally went to his veterinary hospital to help entertain the hospital's cats and dogs. WAV. On the day my son's primary school entrance examination ended, I took him and Limo to the grassland by car. WAV. Watching the teenagers flying kites in the wilderness and sheepdogs chasing dandelions, I suddenly felt that the 10-year marriage was like a long rainstorm, and the sun was shining at this moment. WAV. On the day when the insurance company's claim arrived, Limo was doing rehabilitation, raining for a lame stray cat. WAV. I looked at the numbers in the bank's text message and suddenly remembered the day of Xiao's IJ's funeral. WAV. In fact, I went there secretly. WAV. I saw from a distance that Su Yu-jin's parents were crying while holding the urn, and there was not even a bouquet of flowers in front of his grave. WAV. Cause and effect, he did not escape the cause he planted after all. W are thinking about. Limo poked my face with his hand soaked in cotton wool, and the stray cat took the opportunity to rub against my knees. WAV. I touched its ears and suddenly laughed out loud. Nothing. I just think it's good now. WAV. My cell phone vibrated at this moment. WAV. It was a photo sent by my son. He was standing in a group photo of the prosecutor's career experience activity with a pen I gave him pinned to his collar, and his smile was like the rising sun. In late autumn, I was pruning roses in the garden. WAZ. Limo passed by with a stack of pet medicine books, and there was cat hair on his apron. WAV. In the distance, I heard the laughter of my son and his friends. WAV. They were discussing next month's robot competition. WAV. The leaves of the sycamore outside the fence fell rustling. WAV. In a trance, I saw myself in a light pink skirt 10 years ago, waving at me across time. WAZ. There were stars in her eyes, and I finally understood that true light is never a gift from others, but the power in your own hands. WAV. When dusk fell, we sat around the dining table, and the little orange cat jumped onto the back of Limo's chair to steal dried fish. WAV. My son suddenly pointed out the window. Mom, look! I saw a firefly resting on the petals of a rose, lighting up faintly but firmly. WAV. I held Limo's hand and suddenly realized that everything I had lost would return in another form. WAV. This time I was no longer anyone's appendage, but the light of my own life.